guys. Welcome to Kitchen Court Pieces, where we watch court in my kitchen. Today we're taking a look at some child court cases with Michael Paige. He's from Michigan, if I recall correctly. Let's take a look.
All right, can you both hear me?
Yeah.
I can.
All right, we'll take up file 2020-57356. This is matter of Infinity, Thorn Gray, and Michael Wright. Both are here via Zoom. This is a date and time set for hearing on the plaintiff's motion regarding custody. Have the two of you had a chance to work this out?
No.
I'd love to, but it's kind of hard when you don't want to work with one another.
Okay. Well, let me swear you both in. Both raise your right hands. You both swear or affirm any testimony you give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Ma'am, I couldn't hear you.
I do.
All right. So, ma'am, you filed this motion regarding custody. Why don't you explain to me what you're requesting and why?
I'm just requesting that, honestly, that Michael the kids when he has time for them, as he is having his mother take care of them 4 days of the week that he's supposed to have them. We have current custody of 50-50 that I put into play on the, I think it's March 25th or 21st of the 2021. And that was because Michael had taken the kids from me, and his mom was also refusing to give the kids to me. I also have been known that his mom is supposed to not have rights to her kids, had gotten her rights taken away when Michael was little, and they were put in his dad's care because of her circumstances. And now she's taking care of my kids, as my kids are calling her mother. And she is not the mom, she's the grandmother. But every time they explain something to me when they come back from Michael's is that my mom did this. Well, and then I do get kind of frustrated. I have to remind them that I am their mom. Makes me sad because they're my children and I love them. And they have the proper beds. I've heard from the school personally, they don't have the proper beds at their houses. They're sleeping in pack and plays. I had told Michael about it, and then just recently this past year I seen a picture that my daughter is sleeping in a pack and play, and Silas does have a bed, but I'm just worried about the kids' circumstances. Every time I give them to Mike, I don't know what's going to happen or what's going to happen with them. I don't know what's going on with them, how their circumstances are, if it's stable, what he's doing with them.
All right. Sir, what's your response?
It's all BS. All three of our two kids have beds. They do not stay at my mother's. My mom lives right next door. We're 5 feet away from each other. She comes over at 6:30 in the morning, picks my kids up, takes them to school, picks them up from school because I leave to work at 3:30, so I can't take them to school. And I don't get home till 6, if not later. So she picks them up at 2:45 in the afternoon and then drops them off at home. My kids are with me every single day. My mom only takes them to school. They both have beds. They do not sleep in pack and plays. There is no ill circumstance here. Everything they need or want is here. And as far as them calling them my mom, I got like a 6-year-old little nephew that my mom has raised for a while because my brother and his mother abandoned him for the most part. So he was in line for calling him mom or her mom. And then with my kids hanging out with them and being in their grandmother's life, kind of became accustomed to that.
But being
There
in
is
there,
no infinity's not your mom thing happening here. It's just what they're used to because when they were younger, their cousin did it. They know that my mom is their grandmother, not their mother. So that is just a thing. There's nothing ill going around.
All right. So you guys agreed to an order for week on, week off back in like 2021, right?
Yeah.
that's
All right. And so the children are 5 and 3, is that about right?
that's correct.
All right. And so you said the 5-year-old has a bed and doesn't sleep in a pack and play?
Both of them. They both have beds.
So the 3-year-old has a bed too? Okay. So,
Yep.
ma'am, what led you to believe they were sleeping in pack and plays?
I
I
had got
guess while we're at it, I guess depending on how big they are, what's the big issue with them sleeping?
well, they're potty trained. They shouldn't have out of a pack and play to get in and out of bed
All
to
right,
use the restroom.
but it's not neglectful to have your child, unless they're like all cramped and scrunched up in a pack and play, to sleep in a pack and play. It's a safe environment. It's not a neglectful or abusive situation if that's what you have available.
They're not short. They're pretty long kids. We're both tall ourselves, and they're also not communicating with school. I had contacted Michael personally, word to word, asking him if we should start the kids into school this year. Probably would be a good idea. And then the week after, his mom and him decided to enroll my kids into school without my say.
All right. Well, I mean, that can be a problem if the two of you didn't come to an agreement on school. So, sir, did you enroll the kids in some kind of schooling?
I did get a hold of her. We talked about it for weeks. There was no keep her out of the situation, just hurry up and go do it. We both live in Hardy. Technically, her address is White Cloud, but she's 3 minutes away from where I live. And the kids go to Morley Stanwood schools. She's got an issue with the teachers. That's the whole ordeal with them going to Morley. And then just recently, she wants to take our kids out of Morley schools and send them to Newaygo. We both live in Hardy. We're 22 minutes away from the school. We're 35 minutes, 40 minutes from Newaygo schools.
When did they start school?
Our son started school sometime, I think it was September 9th of last year.
Is that kindergarten or is that daycare or like preschool or what?
It's early preschool. He's going to be in kindergarten coming this year. I do believe that's right. And then our daughter started school, 2-3 months ago?
She started late because they didn't have a teacher.
Yeah.
So they started school in the district in which you both live?
Yes.
No, I do not live in Morley. I live in Croton. And I'm saying that because personally, I went to Morley schools. Mike's went to Morley schools. And it's not a good school. The teachers are missing every other day. They're sick. As of today, my son is homesick because the teacher is sick and the door is not working. So they're not in school. They've missed more school than they have been in school because of the teachers. And there's sicknesses left and right through the school, which that's going to be common. It's through every school. There's going to be strep throat. There's going to be bronchitis and a bunch of stuff. Exactly. It's going to happen. But at the same time, it's just they're missing a lot of school.
All right. Well, I mean, your son started back in September. Why are you just bringing this up now if you didn't agree with it?
Because now they're trying to sign me up for kindergarten through Morley.
Well, that would be the next step for a 5-year-old, right?
Right. That's not the right school for him.
So you don't live in the Morley Stanwood School District?
I did not agree with putting them into Morley. It's inside the court. I wrote it down in the court hearing.
Yeah, half the stuff you said in the court hearing, all of these papers here, 90% of it's a bunch of lies. I could honestly say 100% of it's a bunch of lies. The only thing that's not a lie is my mom's and my children's lives, and they're in school. That's it. Everything you said the teacher said never once was said. And the only reason I don't have proof of that is because the court did not subpoena the teachers to get involved. That's the only reason I don't have proof that the teachers didn't say nothing.
Well, keep in mind, the court doesn't subpoena anybody. If you have evidence you want to present, you need to subpoena those witnesses.
Yep, that's what they said. They said that they couldn't, as long as they're not subpoenaed, I couldn't get like a written statement or anything like that. Right. So I'm not
if you want to
too worried about it.
You fill the subpoena out, you bring it up here and the judge will sign it, but then you have to serve it on the person you want to testify.
Right, exactly. All right.
So I guess, but I'll go back to my point. I mean, ma'am, if he signed the kids up, or at least your son up for school in September, if you don't take any action on that, I mean, you have joint legal custody, you have equal say-so and where your kids go to school and when they start school. But you got to bring that up timely. You're bringing that up 9-10 months later.
I know. And I just was, honestly, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do about it.
You could file a complaint with the friend of the court if you feel like he violated joint legal custody by doing that without your agreement. Or, you can file something, but you didn't file anything until April 10th. And, we're talking September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It's 7 or 8 months. You have to exercise your legal rights quickly. And now the whole school year's done and he's established. I don't know. I guess he's making progress if you're now talking about kindergarten, but
I'm trying to communicate with him that he's not discussing any kind of decisions for our children.
I've discussed everything with you. I've told you about everything. We've talked about everything. If you weren't happy with it, you wouldn't have signed papers for the school. You wouldn't have met with the teachers for school. There was no disagreement until now. The kids, our son has been in school for I think the judge has the papers. I don't. 100 days, shy of 100 days, give or take a day or two. He's missed 24, 26 days, and 95% of those missed days have been on your week. They've been to school every single day.
Because my kid had RSV and was in the hospital when I got them from you.
There's a handful of them.
My kid had an oxygen level of 70, and she was dying when you gave her back to me, and I brought her into the ER and had to rush her to Helen DeVos.
She was doing fine. She was getting better. And then all of a sudden, she gets worse.
Our children.
Things happen.
Every time I ask Michael about our kids and them being sick, he always says they're getting better. I literally got my kid, and she looked like she was dying, like a zombie. She couldn't breathe. She had an oxygen level of 70. Then it was a huge deal that I asked him to come spend one day with her in the hospital because I'm currently pregnant. I was getting sick myself.
So, all right. So, ma'am, I want to go through your points here. One is that grandma is taking care of the kids more than Mr. Wright, which, that's not a basis for changing custody either, I guess, unless what you've alleged is that there are concerns about a grandparent or another person. It looks like if there are concerns that, I guess, to use your words, not mine, she had her rights taken away. What do you mean by that?
She got her kids taken away. Like, she was a filthy person. Her house got burnt down. She had trash everywhere, and they proved her unfit. So her kids got taken away and put into their dad's custody.
All right. How do you know all this?
Because I was with Michael for 5 years.
Okay. No. You said this happened when he was a kid?
Yeah.
All right. So he doesn't look like he's 5 or 10 years old. He looks like an adult male. I mean, so this was long before you were in the situation. So somebody told you.
I'm wondering is why she got her rights taken away.
Well, no, I'm asking you. You've alleged this as a part of the basis for your motion. I'm asking you, why is that relevant?
Why is it okay for her to have my children?
No. I didn't say why is it okay. I said, why is it relevant? How is that relevant to today's proceeding?
It's relevant because she shouldn't have custody of my kids.
Because of something that happened when he was a child? About how do you know it happened? Did you read some paperwork or see court papers or what happened?
If you go to their house, the house across the street, it's all burnt down. There's a bunch of stuff all over. It's still laying there. It's the house that's burnt down.
So from 20 or 30 years ago?
Sure.
That happened.
Hold on, sir. I'll get to you in a minute.
Sorry.
And so she had her rights terminated, or she just lost custody, or what?
She lost custody of her kids.
And that was when Mr. Wright was 5 years old, I think you said?
Sure.
Is that what you said?
That in there, I didn't put any age. I just said that she got her rights taken away when they were kids, and they were put into his father's care.
All right, but do you know if she had, if she ever got custody back, or if she had visitation, or if...
She ended up getting visitation back.
Okay. But what's the condition of her house now? Is it a filthy house?
She has 30 dogs, and it smells like feces. 13. Probably 14.
You're cutting in and out. It's hard to understand you because your audio.
Like 13 or 15 dogs.
Are they just running wild, or are they kenneled, or does she raise dogs? I mean,
she breeds them, and she has just poop and pee all over the house. It's been like that since I've been with Michael. She's not a very clean person.
All right, sir, can you address that?
Yeah, my mom, she does have a handful of dogs. That's one of her flaws. She loves dogs. The house that burnt down, that was 7 years ago. I think I was 18, 19, just before Infinity and I got together, honestly. My mother never lost her rights. Her and my father went through what we're doing right now, and the courts bounced back and forth on who the kids lived with, me and my two brothers. So there was no rights lost. There was no rights terminated. There was nothing. It was just a back and forth custody battle. And every other time somebody had something on the other person. So we went back and forth. There was no termination of rights or nothing. I never once said that. So I don't know. I've heard about this 100 times, and it's just an ongoing thing. But
all right, then, sir, what hours do you work? I don't know that I caught that fully.
I work about 4 to 6. I work out or over in Baldwin, so I'm about an hour away from work. So
you work 2 hours a day?
No, about 12.
Oh,
12 hours a day.
So are those nighttime hours or daytime hours?
Through morning to night.
Okay, so you work from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
So like 14 hours?
Yeah, sometimes I work anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, 14 hours a day. It depends on what needs to be done throughout.
Where do you work?
Stealthcraft. I build fiberglass boats. The company's way behind, so sometimes we got to put some hours on.
And that's year round you work those hours?
Yep.
All right, so you get up at 4 a.m. to go to work, and then your kids go to your mom's at that point?
No, not at that point. She comes over. The kids start school between 7:45 and 8 o'clock. So she'll come over around 6:30, 7 o'clock, make sure everything's all set and ready for the day. They got what they need, and takes them to school.
Who's with them from 4 a.m. to 7 then?
My fiance.
Oh, I see.
Yep. She just don't have a license right now, so she can't take them back and forth.
So then your mom also gets them after school until you get home?
Nope. Yeah. Well, she picks them up and then she drops them back off.
Picks them up from school?
Yep. And then they hang out at home with Heather until I get home. They
spend most of the nights at your house, though?
Yeah. Yep. Like I told Infinity, I'm not going to stop my mom from seeing my kids. If she wants to take them for a night, she's more than welcome. I 110% comfortable with my mom and her husband around my kids.
All right. The dogs, do the dogs just roam the house, or are they kenneled, or what?
Yeah, they're kenneled for the most part. She's got a handful of smaller dogs that run around, but she's got a handful of bigger dogs that are kenneled up.
And then she breeds them, or they're just pets?
No, she don't breed them. She just takes care of them, takes them in. She just loves her dogs, but she does not breed them.
She used to.
All right.
I've known her for 27 years. I've never known her to breed a dog, purposely breed a dog.
All right, but they spend the night. Well, most of the nights are spent with you, though, or all of them?
Yeah, 99% of the time.
All right. Unless they just go and have a sleepover at the grandparents' house?
Yep, nothing unusual.
Yeah. Okay. And if they do call your mom, that's just out of confusion because another relative calls her mom?
Yep, when they were younger, I have a little nephew that lived with my mom for years because my brother and his actual mom didn't want him. But my mom couldn't get custody of him because neither one of them wanted to sign over to make life a little harder for her. So he got accustomed to calling her mom, which isn't no big deal. But my kids kind of got into it, which I'm not going to complain about. It's just a name, they know who grandma is, they know who their mom is, so I don't see an issue with that.
Are there dog feces all over your mom's house?
No. Excuse me.
I got an envelope here someone dropped off. Who dropped this defendant's proposal? So, sir, you dropped this off?
It's probably, I dropped off attendance report. How much time the kids missed, majority of it on their mom's weeks. Like I said earlier, definitely excusable for times that they're actually sick, but majority of the time they weren't actually sick.
So, ma'am, do you want me to look at this stuff? Have you seen it?
You can go ahead and go for it. All my kids were currently sick when they were not at school. They don't just miss school because I can't get them there. I actually just rearranged my work schedule because I was working from 4 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon. And now, since I'm trying to get more custody of my kids, my work is working around this, and they're letting me go in at 9 a.m. to 2:15, so I'm able to pick up and drop off my kids.
Okay.
And I'm currently pregnant at 23 weeks.
All right. Where do you work, ma'am?
GM Wood Products for 2 years now.
What hours do you work?
I was working 4 a.m. to 2:30. Now I'm working 9 a.m. to 2:15.
Okay. So school for Silas anyway is Monday through Thursday?
Yep.
Thursday, yep, for the both of them now.
So some of the boxes have like a A for absence, I assume. Some are just blank boxes, though. What are the blank boxes?
Yeah, I wasn't able to figure out. I don't know if there was just no excuse on why they were absent, or if some of them were just unscheduled absences. I know some of the days were absent. There was no electric, no heat, stuff like that. So it was necessary. But
I mean, some of the boxes don't have any code in it, I guess. I don't know what those are.
yeah, I don't know. It was hard to figure out that sheet. They kind of partially explained it to me, and I'd made heads or tails of what I could.
It's hard to put a whole lot of emphasis if I don't know what it all means.
Well, it was also like there was like a burning smell in the school. They said it was up to the parents to send the kids to school. It was one day the heat was not working. The power was out, so they didn't have school. Could be like anything like that.
And I mean, it's not, school in Michigan isn't compulsory until, a lot of people think kindergarten, but really it's first grade. It's not mandatory that your kids go to school. Now, certainly if they're enrolled, you're trying to get them in the habit, and there's a preschool, a learning function, they're going to miss stuff if they don't go, but it's not actionable as truancy until first grade. So, it's really hard to, there's should and there's must. So if you got them enrolled for school and it's not compulsory, though, yeah, they should be there, but it's not really until first grade when you must have them there when they're able to go, and that can be a basis or kind of add to a basis for a change of custody. So at this point, it's kind of persuasive, but not something I can really base a change of custody on. And I mean, to be honest, this other stuff, ma'am, if there was a situation whereby there was a custody change when Mr. Wright was a child, unless you can, draw a direct line from that to your kids being unsafe in their home at this point, that's not really relevant. You brought up the pack and play as opposed to a bed. Now, Mr. Wright has said they have beds anyway, but that's not patently abusive or neglectful or a basis for changing custody. I guess once kids hit a certain size and they don't fit in a pack and play, then certainly they have to be transitioned to some kind of bed. But Mr. Wright has said they have a bed. The fact that they spend time with their grandparents, that's not a problem. Lots of kids spend time with their grandparents, unless they're abusive or neglectful people, which doesn't sound like that's the case. Sounds like there are a lot of dogs, but if they're not dangerous dogs, if they don't bite or scratch or have problems with that, which you haven't alleged, then that's not really a problem either, as long as they're picked up after. And as far as the defendant's mom helping him out with getting the kids back and forth to school, I mean, sounds like that's kind of beneficial under the circumstances that he's got to work a lot of hours, which that is what it is. But I mean, someone's got to help him out with that, and if his mom's willing to do that, that's fine. I just don't see anything that you've alleged here that would be the basis for a change in circumstances or proper cause, which is the first step in changing custody. You have to prove either a change in circumstances or proper cause, just to open the door to allow the court to consider the motion. And what you've alleged doesn't meet that standard. So based on that reasoning, your motion would be dismissed. Custody and parenting time would remain as currently ordered. There being nothing further, you guys should be all set. You get an order of dismissal in the mail.
Thank you.
All right.